Hey, Fitzy here, back at it again with another one. Back on the Toyota. A while back, I made a set of wheel tubs for this car. I think it was about 6 months ago I made them. I think it's about time we started to install them, eh? Stick around. So, it's time to get back on this now. Last video, we widened up the rear quarters on this here. What I want to do now is I want to get the wheel tubs in this here. So first thing I got to do is I'm going to have to strip everything out of the back of this. Get the rear end out of it, wheels, tires off it, so I can get up in the back side of it here, and we get started on this. The first thing I'm going to do is going to go over now and refresh you guys on the way the wheel tubs goes in this car. What I have here, this is one wheel tub, this is the other wheel tub. I have an outer wheel tub. This is the section that's out on the wheel well. This is the center piece that this mounts to, and this here is the section that you can actually put a panel on the inside of the car, like a door panel or like a card, whatever they call them. You can mount that to it. This is the inner wheel well, okay? This is the part that goes to the frame rail, and this was made from the original Toyota wheel tub itself. I wanted to have a round wheel tub in it. So this piece here will mount right here on this edge here. So then you got a lip that with inside the car, you want to put a panel on the inside of the car. You'd have something to mount to from this here. The problem I had, the reason why I stopped on these here now is because where I widened up the quarter panel on this car, this arch changes. This spot right here welds on right here, okay? It welds back on in the factory locations. A lot of times, a lot of people build wheel tubs. They'll just build a wheel tub and they'll just go straight out and they'll join it onto the quarter panel up along here somewhere. I never liked that because you're welding onto an open panel and it always causes problems when you start to race the car, that you turn around and it'll actually start warping the panel and whatnot if you weld it on. And if you just leave it hang there and seam seal it up, the seam sealer got a tendency to crack, then the car fills up with smoke and everything. So I build them so that they actually welds on to the factory wheel weld the way original wheel weld would go on. That way this will be spot welded in along here, and then that'll be it. This is just a straight panel that comes up. There's nothing fancy about it. You can see it just comes up, it follows the contour of the quarter panel, and then it goes straight in like so. Just like a regular wheel tub would go in. But it gives you a nice mounting point to do. Now, where I widen the quarter panel, this section back here got to be changed, okay? I got to trim this off back here and have it so that I can actually fit it back in the car again, because this is what was holding me up, was getting this done. So I'm going to go ahead now and get started on this, get this rear end out of the way, and start fitting these wheel tubs in place, so I can get them cut up. I got everything stripped out, so it's all empty there now. What I'm at here now is in the last video when I went and done the arches, there was a little spot down here I didn't like the way it was shaped. I'm after splitting it now, and I go ahead now and weld that, because that kind of like went like that, and there was a low spot there, so I got it cut down, dollied out, and trimmed up to where I'm happy with it. I'm going to go ahead and weld all that up there now, so that there got a nice flow to it again. So I'm going to go ahead, get that welded up. That's a lot better. Got a nice flow to it now, like the other side. I'm happy with that. There's nothing too elaborate there. I just split it and tweaked it out, bent it out a little small bit, and then welded it up on the inside, and welded it up on the inside, and then grind and dressed it. So now that I got that done, let's start fitting that wheelhouse. So here's the edge here that I'm going to have to trim it off of. It's going to be tight, but I don't mind it. This is the piece that I cut off the quarter panel. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mark that now. Just mark that there just to see it. Now there'll only be a little small bit of it in here, but that's fine for me because I'm not too worried about that. I got these made now, and I'm not going to change the tail end of them up here in the front because the way they're shaped and the way they go to the wheelhouse in the car itself, all this here remains the same plane, okay? So I just got to trim this off from here and then cap the end of this, right? So I'll mark this, put a marker on there, and then I'm going to lay it up in place. And I figure this is going to taper back to about here somewhere, and then cut it off, and then I'm going to have to recap the end of this again. So it is all marked up now and fit in place. I got it loosely fit in place, got it lined up down there on the bottom side where it lines up there and comes up around the back side here, and I got a pair of vice grips put on it here to actually hold it in. And then I went underneath and I marked it where I figured that it's going to end, where this here lip here can stay, and then I have to cut the rest of it off. Out here you can see the lip, the way it's longer and the way it fades out. I'm going to go over on the bench now, and I'm going to cut this section out of it and remove it, and then come over and do a test fit on it to see where I'm to. And down here I marked it with the piece that I had. This piece here, this is the original quarter panel. That's the section I cut off it. So I marked it here, and then I just traced it up along here and faded it out to here. This is just roughly done up here, and same with up here, because when I laid it in the car, it seemed like this was sticking in too far, and it almost seems like I had to cut the whole works of it off it. But there's a bit of a twist to this when you put it in there, and it's still sitting a bit high because right here was inside, so we raised it up. So I'm gonna go ahead now, trim all this off. First test fit, still got to trim some more off, so I'll go ahead and I'll trim that, fit it, trim it until I got it all where I'm happy with it. So after a number of fits and some trimming, I got it all to fit in there. Got it all clamped in place there now, and it all fits down nice through there. Looks good when you're looking through there. You see the way it fits on the quarter panel up along here. What I got to do now is I got a little lip I got to put on the outside edge. Out here, from here, down, all the way down to here. I got a lip. I split the inner well. I'll show you that there in a minute. And bent it back a small bit. It just didn't seem like it wanted to fit nice, and it didn't look right. So I wanted it to have a better, a better fit. It's not a lot of room there now, but it's better than it was, right? So I'm gonna have to put a bit of a lip back on it there. But I got it all set up there now. You can see the way it's down on the bottom there now. Comes up along there. You can see where I gotta add lip to it. I got a bit of a space there, so I got a bit of room there to just lay a piece of metal against it. I won't disturb it, so let's get that piece welded up now. So here's what I got done. I got this all ready here now. I'm gonna put a piece in along here, and you can see I split it here and just tweaked this back just a bit. From about right here down, it's gonna be that width there all the way down. That's one reason why I did that, because it was getting pretty thin there. So I'm gonna cut a piece out of here and put a new section in here that is that wide. I'll weld all this up and I'll go over and test fit it till I'm happy with it again. And then I'll start making up the piece for there. So I got it all cleaned up here now. Grinded, rolled off the edge, welded it on the inside there as well. I grinded it off. I went over it on a quick test fit on it. Happy where's two. All I need to do now is actually cap the ends of this here now. I'm just taking random pieces of steel, laying up against it like that, and weld them on, and I'll shape it all afterwards. All I got to make sure is I got enough material on the inside in order for it to have a lip on the inside of it, and then I'll clean it all off and weld it up. I'm probably going to have to do it in a couple of pieces, but that's fine. So I'm just going to use up scrap that I got here. So I'll get that all done there now. Don't that look lovely? Yeah, it's looking a bit better. And there you have it. Lip on it, going right on down around the bottom, comes up around, clamped down, goes up to the front there, it's all set up. See the way it fits in the car, it lines up the quarter panel down the back side here. You can see now I got a bit of room back here. You're looking in through there, I'm running my fingers down through there a small bit. Now all this here lip will be trimmed off after the fact once I get some of the spot welded on and through here, clamp all that together. This panel here will be the last one to go in place. It'll be spot welded. As you can see, I got spot weld holes there, or plug welds as some fellas calls them. I got that all straightened away in there. This side is all completed now, ready to go. So now I can go do the other side. There you have the other side done. All nice fit down through there. A little bit of a gap there I'm gonna have to fix. Minor stuff. Now that I got that all done, next thing on the agenda is what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to paint all this in here. Okay, put a coat of paint on it first. I got some rust and everything up here. We've had a lot of rain here the last few weeks, and no matter what I'm doing here, it just like everything I works on, it just flash rusts. I never had this problem here before, but this season, oh my God, it's bad. Like this is the hour quarter. It's hard to see there or not, but all that's gone, flash rust on me. All down through there. I'm gonna have to give that all a clean up there now with a wire brush. And then I got some spray paint there. I'm just gonna spray over it to hold it up. But in here now, I'm gonna paint that in there. Paint inside this here. And I'm also gonna paint all this here on the wheel tubs. I'm gonna paint the entire wheel tub right here. So when I put it in, I haven't got to worry about it no more because all this in here and the top is a bare metal and it's gonna be hard to paint later on. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint that. So I'm gonna take that now, send it off to the body shop, and they're gonna powder coat it for me. Powder coat. Ta-da! The applicator. 9,000 tick. The Villibus. Here's one wheel tub. I was generous on the paint. Another one down here. Anybody asks? No, this is still not touched. I haven't done a thing with the ramp. Coming soon. But anyway, I got that all painted there. I got that side all painted there. Nice heavy coat on it. And a nice heavy coat on this side as well. What I'm using is trim clad semi-gloss. It's a direct to metal type of paint. So, and I wasn't bothering with priming and whatever. I'm looking for lots of protection in between the panels and everything now. Ooh, look at the pinholes. I'm not doing nothing with them. There's a couple up there too. A few on the other side. A couple over here as well. I chased them and I chased them and this is it. That's all I can do. What's going to happen here now with all this here, I'm going to let this paint dry. Then I'm going to seam seal over all the welds on the inside there. I'm not worried about putting paint on it again because I'll end up painting it all in there anyway. That's the third time. And out here on the bodywork, I try to get this bodywork as best I can. This here is not my best work at all because of the metal on this car. This is atrociously looking. Look at it. I got this here so it's good for bodywork. You know, it's just the way it is with this car. And like I had to get it all set up. There was no finishing this off and doing a nice job on it, just a little skim of filler. No, this here is going to be fiberglassed up and then it's going to be all shaped. But when you stand back here, you get the gist of it. It's close. This side, same thing. It's close. So I'm going to let that dry now. And next thing we'll be getting started on is the inner tubs. So it's the next day. They're still a bit tacky. That's the way trim clad is. I never reduced it down or anything. I'm gonna have to let that set up. It's not gonna hold us up because these goes in last. So I'm gonna let them dry. What we're gonna go at here now today is I'm gonna start getting the inner wheel tub mounted and welded in. I don't need to do no painting on this one here because this is all gonna be welded in. I just gotta decide whether I'm going to solid weld this on here to this piece here, or I'm going to plug weld it on. I'm not quite sure. I gotta size things up. I gotta install this piece here with Clecos, see what it's all about, see what we're up against, and then figure out what way I'm gonna mount this here. So let's get started. So here's what I'm up against here. This is that infamous Toyota metal, okay? This here is 18 gauge. This is what I got done. I got Clecos put on this now, holding it all in place. I have little strips. You can see it on this side here. There's a strip on this side here. This side here, I'm going to be spot welding the actual wheel tubs onto there. These holes here, they will be spot welded onto that lip there. What I want to do, I want to make this and this all one piece and join it together so I can put it in as one unit and have it done. That way I haven't got to do no finish work on this piece here. Now I got a couple options here. I can overlap it and just weld it along here, an overlap weld, okay? And weld it down through here, or I can actually plug weld it down through to here onto the piece underneath it as well. I'm looking at it, sizing things up here. It's too much, and too much to do one way or another. I'm just afraid if I start solid welding all this up here, I'm going to end up having to warp all this, okay? Now, I don't mind, I don't like stitch welds, okay? I prefer to do a plug weld than I do a stitch weld, and then basically seam seal that seam there. I'm just trying to figure out the easiest method of putting this together without causing too much headaches with blow through and welding up problems and stuff like that. Now I can do an overlap weld and just weld it on there, and then I'll have to grind it all. I might end up doing that, I don't know, or I might just do a plug weld. I'm falling more and more into a plug weld. I can do a plug weld down through there, clamp it, and plug weld down there, and then I can just seam seal that seam there. When that's grinded off, it'll just look just like it is there now. It's just that there'll be a seam there, right? And then on the inside, then I'll be seam sealing this section as well, right? So it's something that I got to go over. I got to go over now and fit this in the car and test fit it and find out and make sure everything is going to work all right before I actually blow it apart. Because I want to put another Cleco down here on the bottom side just to hold all that steady, so I got something to go by when I go to put it back together again to weld it all together. So go over and install that in the car now. So here's where I am too. I got it mounted in place, sizing everything up, got some spots marked that I'm going to have to trim off on this side here. On the other side over here, I got to add a piece in to the wheel tub down right here. Where's he to? Down here, there you go. I got to add a piece in there because I got the brace down there, so I got to come down to here somewhere and extend this section of the wheel tub down. I got it all figured out what I'm going to do in here. Not going to worry about that right now. And in here I have a couple more Clecos put on the bottom. So I got that figured out what I'm going to do there. And I'm happy where everything is fitting. Up along the wheel tub here, where it all fits. See where I got it clamped on. Right, so I got to decide now whether I'm going to plug weld that or I'm going to solid weld that, one or the other. I'm not going to do a cotton bud on it because this metal, it is a nightmare. So it's going to get some sort of lap weld, and I'm pushing more towards a plug weld because it just looks cleaner looking. Because if I start welding this up, I know for a fact I'm just going to warp everything up if I start putting a lot of heat into this here, because it's so thin and whatnot, right? So, but I got that all ready there now. I'm going to take it out, trim everything that I got to get done here, and start figuring out what way I'm going to weld that. So I'm here now, and I got the other side trimmed off like I wanted to get trimmed off. And I got the wheel tub taken out here now. And what I'm doing, I'm extending this front section here. I made this piece of metal here. It's been 18 gauge. All of this is that white stuff that I've been using, this stuff here. And I bent it up, rolled it around, put a little bit of an edge in here because that's where it's going to clamp onto the inside and spot weld. Now, a lot of this is probably going to end up being cut off after the fact, but I just wanted to put a lot there, excess there, so when I runs the floor pan in, I got lots of room there. Because I'm not going to have no lip hanging down on this section here, because this is where you'll be getting in with a wrench and stuff like that, and I want no edge there. So I'm here now, and I got it all overlapped, and I got it marked out, because I got a little inlay in here, and I want to finish it off and put an inlay in there. So all I did is I just marked it out roughly where I think this is going to be, And I'm going to take this over in the vise now, and I'm going to make this section look like that section. No fancy tools. Ball peen hammer and old masonry hammer. Now I got it roughed in. I'm going to go now and dolly that up. That's usually the fault of the voice. It'd be nice if I had to put 2 pieces of angle iron in there. Would have been a lot better. That's it. I'll make do what I got. That's absolutely mint. That's perfect. You never see it. That's factory. That's what that is. Anyway, I'm going to tack weld it on there now, and I'm just going to do the cut and put that piece right on in there and have it done. So there you got it. I got it welded in place. There's the piece I cut out. Just a simple old cotton button down through there. I never really got showing you that there because I'm just trying to get this done. I'm still using 023 wire. It's brutal. Lord bless it. Look at how high that is down there. Look. But that's it. I'm going to go ahead now, grind this off now, get this dressed up, get the inside welded up, and that piece is done. There you have it. You see where it's been welded in on the inside there? I dollied it and trimmed it. Right, so now I got that little inlay in it there now. Oh, those factory. So now I got enough room there now for that to come down, for the floor to come into it. Now, let's get this welded on here. I decided I cleaned all this up here. I'm going to do a lap weld and just weld it in along here. It's right close to the edge here, so I should be able to dress it and it wouldn't be that noticeable. I thought about plug welding it, but I think when I get this welded here, I can cut the piece off on the inside, and it's only a little tiny sliver there. Because what's going to end up happening is this side here is going to be overlapped this way. I will be plug welding to this side here. But this here is the part you're going to see. Like when you look into the trunk, you'll see all this section here. Well, the other side of it, but still you'll see this side of the trunk, so it'll be nice to have all that smooth. So I'll go ahead now and get that tack welded in. I'm going to start here at the top and work my way back, because if you start down the bottom, you're going to be chasing a high spot right through the whole works of it. So I'm going to start here, clamp here, and start welding here, and then I can finish off this side here, then go back up here and then finish off that side there. So I got that all welded up. You saw me there, I welded every inch. And I started here in the middle and worked this way. And then I worked this way here just in case I never had no high spots that I had to chase out of it. And then what I did then, I went back and I welded an inch, skipped an inch, welded an inch, skipped an inch. I've been playing around with the settings on my welder. And what I did is I turned the wire speed down and kept the temperature high. And it kind of laid down a bit better by turning the wire speed down. So they're not half bad welds with the 030 wire. So the sun are really nice, huh? Right along there. So I got that done. What I'm going to do here now is I'm going to flip this over and cut off the lip. Now before I grind anything up, you can see where it's been welded through. Because after coming through this socket, I'm going to take the zip blade now and I'll cut right along that edge of the weld, right along there, and remove this piece here out of the way so then there's nothing there. And I'll just give that a quick cleaning up with the grinder. And that'll be best kind, because I'm going to seam seal about this much of this panel anyway. Because in these cars here, these here were always seam sealed. So I'm going to be seam sealing a lot of this. And I think I'm going to do like a box liner, gravel guard type of finish on the wheel wells itself. And I can do the whole bottom of the car, I don't like that. But the wheel wells will take a pounding. And rocks flying up and everything. You don't want the tinny noise with rocks and whatever flying up. So they were usually always undercoated. I'm kind of hung up on, you know, after scrapping and after working on a lot of factory cars over the years. And I kind of got hung up on the factory finish on some of the cars and the way things were put together. And that's where I found that a lot of cars had like a gravel guard style finish in the wheel wells. Anyway, let's get that cut off. Got that cut off. That was there. That's there. That all enough was a small step then, all the way down through there. I'll grind that with the grinder around. That'll be fine because I'm going to seam seal this much of it anyway. So that's everything. So I'm going to go ahead and now get this grinded up and get the other side grinded up. Well, I'm pleased with that. That don't look half bad. Little skim of seam sealer on there now. Perfect. I got a couple of where the cleat goes for two. I gotta weld them up there now. I'll get them welded up, get them grinded up, and get them dressed. And that wheel tub is pretty well ready to install. So I got everything prepped and ready to go in. What I got done here now is this car had what they call a trunk drop off. It went from the rear dash panel down to the wheel tub. I've after cutting this down to fit back on the car. This was about that long at one point, okay? So I've after trimming it down and I got it all prepped up there. I went and marked it earlier and I got a few spot welds that I can put on it later. I got to install this first, I'm thinking, because it's going to be hard to get in there and weld this here up when I puts it in the car. These here shouldn't be a problem, but this up here is going to be hard and right here is going to be hard. So I'm going to go ahead now, and what I got done now is I got a couple of little pieces made up here. It's going to make life a lot easier. I got these little things made up that are going to go across here like so, and they're going to put a lip on it to go across. That'll clamp in place. Put one here, and I got a little small one to go up here, okay? That way it makes it easier to clamp it in place, to put it in, to line it up. I'm not too concerned about, you'll never see these when they're in the car, but that's what it's going to look like. And then that'll line up underneath the bottom of the other one, and then I'll just weld two of them together that way. Because it's kind of hard to float this in there, because this here is going right back where it was chopped off, so it's going to have the thickness of the blade there and there, right? So I'm going to go ahead now and get them few things tacked on the back side here, these here, get them tacked on, and then I'll be ready to get that installed. And that's where that goes in there. The original gas tank filler neck can still come down through there. And this here welds to the wheel tub, and that welds on there. So I had to put them little plates in there just to make it easier to put in there. As you can see, it's a bit of a tangle getting two of them in there, as I haven't got a lot up there to weld to. So I'm going to go ahead now and get two of them welded in and cleaned up. So I'm pretty sure I got everything done here. I got all the holes punched in here. And ready to go. So I'm gonna go over now and install this. I got one cleco here to hold it in place, another one down here, and one right here. That's all I got to hold it in place now. So see if I can get that in place there now. I wonders how much this warped up. This is a lot of change everything here now. Woo, fingers crossed. Well, I got it in there, and I got it all clamped in place. All the spots are all set up for spot welds, where everything's going to be 2 up front here, right here. I'm going to solid weld this across here, and down on the bottom, down that corner down there, I'll solid weld that as well. And I got to weld it in behind here as well, but they'll be solid welded, and then everything else is being spot welded. You see the gap on the floor there, down through there, and little panel lines up. It hangs down now like I wanted it to right here. There's the piece I put in it because it was only up to here. There's the floor section I wanted, so I wanted that to come down to there. So I got all that done there now. And you can see down here where that's going to be solid welded on down there. It's dark, but you can see it down there. And you can see in through there. You see my plug welds where they're going to be welded on. I got to do some trimming up over here in this corner here. I'll trim that up. Down here it'll be spot welded on here. And then it'll be welded on the inside, on the other side of that there. I got holes put here for the panels for the floor section that's going to go forward of this. This here will have to be trimmed off after, and there'll probably be plug welds put in that as well. But that's it. Going up along there. Over here you can see that's going to be welded onto the lip on the bottom here. I made up this little template that's the width of the bottom of the wheelhouse. So I made sure I had clearances in here for that to go in there for the wheelhouse clear, because that's going to be spot welded on there and spot welded on there. That'll be welded on there. So, and there it is from this angle here. Going all up along there. Right here is where the other wheel weld will be spot welded on, and then that'll be spot welded on here as well. I'm going to go ahead now and get this welded in. One last thing, there's that trunk drop off. That's gone up there where I welded on there earlier. That there will be spot welded on through there. I got the holes already in there, so I'll clamp that in place after when I get everything else welded up. So, here comes the fun part. Not going to be able to film much of this because it's pretty tangly in there, so I'm just going to go ahead and get it all welded up. There it is, fully installed and all welded in. Got the brace put in there. See what that's welded on? And then there's plug welded down through here and through that way as well. Right. And there's plug welded in through here from the inside the wheel well along there. And there's one little spot weld down along there. The top of the tub is welded on to the actual body of the car right here, solidly welded on. Down here in the bottom is actually welded onto the rocker, and there's also plug welded right here as well. You can see how the tub rolls into the box, and how there's a side I put in the box there so the tub got something to actually weld to. Down here you can see there's where the plug welds are too. Up along this section here, and down through here, and over down through here, and they're welded onto the frame rail right here. Now this here is going to have to be trimmed later on, as well as this here, but I want to get the entire floor be done. I want to have this here come down and rotate on an edge. I don't want to have a sharp corner here, right? And there's the one plug weld right there that was plug welded on. And that's basically it for that wheel tub. So I got that wheel tub done. So the next thing was to do the other one. Well, with one inner wheel tub done, I had to repeat the entire process again and do the other one. Yeah, I went ahead and I'd done the other one. It was the same process as this one here. I had to make the same modifications. I had to lengthen the front of it, had to trim it all off. I had to weld it up along the seam here, cut it clear on the inside, did all the same stuff to that there, and got that one welded in as well. Had to modify the brace, get the brace all plug welded in, got that one fully welded in. That is the 2 inner wheel tubs welded in the car. Now, this has been a big undertaking. It's a lot of work for some wheel tubs, isn't it? Right? The biggest thing was duplicating left from the right, trying to make both of them look the same. So once I got this one welded in, I used that to measure from to make that one there fit. But I got 2 of them welded in there now, and I got a lot more work left to do. But this is where I'm going to end this one. Anyway, I hope the tips were good, and until next time.